Hey everybody, welcome back to Quali-Tea Time with me, Lying. So, this one's a bit late owing to certain sleeping issues that were very poorly handled, but in with the news, this week we have discovered that in fact trees do exist on the surface of Undermine. Now, as you may have seen from the videos, Undermine goes right up to the build limit in blocks, and those blocks do not generally tend to include more or less anything from the surface. So we've actually had to look around quite a bit to find trees, and as it turns out, trees can exist in that world, but only in the extreme rare case of the ground foliage of jungles, which can appear inside these small pits that evidently the world generator does not work out. So yeah, we find out a lot of weird stuff about the build limits inside of Undermine. Also in the news is that there is an imminent Patreon batch going through. I'm being told by Patreon that it will be going through on the 1st of October. It will probably take more or less most of the first week. But if you are hoping to get onto Undermine in that mode, then you will probably want to start getting your pledge in pronto, because you will only be added as soon as your pledge goes through. This also applies to all manner of other different kind of rewards you can get, such as being added to the Edgington list and being added to the end slate for Knight of Fangs. And of course, I guess the biggest piece of news for the week is Fuzz Lying, also known as Lying in Fuzz, Fuzz in Bedmon, and a bunch of others, is actually canon. Who knew? And our schedule for this week will of course be Midnight Sticks on the Thursday night, followed by Edgington, where I am very much in need of a newspaper, for Friday. On Saturday we'll have some Knight of Fangs with a vital proclamation which will spell potential doom for a fair portion of the server, and of course Dungeons and Dragon Hats over at twitch.tv/dragonhat from 9 PM BST. On the Sunday, we have Oddworld with yet more slogs. I swear I'm getting pretty adept at learning how to burst fire with the sligs just to get rid of them all. And then on the Tuesday, we have more progress with Undermine on the Storage Hall, as well as Yog Dwarves Live number 36 at twitch.tv/lyinginbedmon from 9 PM BST. And then of course on Wednesday, in a week from now, we have XCOM with probably one of the most improbable destinations I have ever been on a mission. But XCOM's a bit weird that way. So, on to questions. Remember, these are drawn from the comments section of the preceding Quali-Tea Time, so if you have any questions for next time, get them in the comments below. Our first question is from TDT Uncaped. Will there ever be Lying merchandise? I've had this question before on Tumblr at one point or another. The answer being, I would really like it if I had some kind of merchandise, even if it was just like a t-shirt, or hey, some gloves would be nice, or possibly, I guess, a hat. I have said, though, that the first piece of merchandise I would like to get out would probably be a small plushie. I have an example over here, which I believe was made by Isama Station. I honestly cannot remember, so apologies if I get that completely wrong. But, yeah, it's a little toy witch Lying, and I know it seems like the slightest bit egotistical or something to say, I wish for my fans to have an effigy which they can hold close, but people ask me for hugs a lot of the time, and I feel like it'd be great if they had some kind of physical manifestation of me to actually get a hug from. Next from The Lord Fire. Where should I start watching your Minecraft series to best understand the lore? Technically, most of them stand alone pretty well. Never Expedition doesn't interact with the other series. Knight of Fangs presently doesn't interact with the other series either. The big chunk that does, basically, is Carpenter Station through to Witch in the Woods, which is the exact same instance of Lying, and then Yokai Temple interacts with Witch in the Woods near the end of its run as well. You can watch most of Yokai Temple without any knowledge of the rest of the series. You can watch Carpenter Station and the Chaos Fills pretty well as well. I would say watch Witch in the Woods, Yokai Temple, and Knight of Fangs, and you'll be good. Pretty much. Like, that's kind of okay for you. Bo Nicholas Mathiasson, and I apologise if I've mispronounced that, can Fuzz be in all the vlogs? I think that's a yes. Nico25851 asks, what would you say is the game or games that had the largest influence on you growing up? Do you want to go first on this one? Because I definitely have a story for this.
Oh, I'm not sure, really. I mean, obviously the Pokemon games had a lot of an effect on me when I was younger. Not
Gen 1, yo, for life.
I didn't even start with Gen 1. I didn't start playing Pokemon until Gen 4. But
I know, because you were a tiny babby when it came out.
yeah, but
if you were born, actually. I don't recall when Pokemon first came out. 97, I want to say?
I think it was 97 in Europe.
So you would have been 2.
Yes. But no, Pokemon has been just sort of as a franchise has been with me for pretty much my entire life because I am about as old as Pokemon is.
Yeah.
So
You're as old as the original release of Pokemon.
I remember when I was young having Pikachu plushes, having a Pokemon bedspread, which I probably still have somewhere.
Oh god.
A Pokemon beach towel. Basically, the Pokemon anime was pretty important to me, and the games have also become very important to me as well.
That would explain your absolute love of jelly donuts. Anyways, before Fuzz chokes me out, my answer to this question is in fact a little-known game known as Future Cop LAPD, and it's a fairly transparent game. You have this vehicle that can have like a selection of 3 different weapons, which include a mortar. You can also transform it into a car and drive over people, and you basically just have to figure out how to navigate the levels and then fight the bosses. And honestly, that is one of the most formative gaming experiences I ever had. I would say it's held up quite well. I got a chance to play it a couple years back, and it was still pretty much as I remembered. So I would recommend going and playing that. Unfortunately, it was meant to be like one of a series, but the first one just didn't make enough money, so the company that made it closed down.
No.
Which is a pity to find out, but yeah, Future Cop LAPD, that would be the largest influence a game has had on me. From Ninja, who is your favourite artist? Which piece of theirs is your favourite and why? You probably have a better chance of being able to answer this than I do.
In terms of more well-known artists, I'd say my favourite is probably Alphonse Mucha. I absolutely love the Art Nouveau style, and I absolutely adore his works. The colours, the shapes, everything about it just I find really aesthetically pleasing. As for my favourite work by him, I'd probably say the Arts series. Because you have poetry, painting, music. You have these portraits which are incredibly beautifully done, and I just really like them.
Are we limiting this to just like canvas or painting and drawing the kind of artists?
Well, I'm going with well-known artists, really. Though I also really like Van Gogh's work as well.
Yeah. It's hard to go wrong with a Van Gogh.
Wow, that was a butcher.
Saying his name properly requires a lot more phlegm.
Yeah, Gogh.
Yeah. I'm not really all that knowledgeable with regards to artists. What I can say, though, is that I do love seeing all of the wonderful fan art that comes out of that comes into my tag on Tumblr, including yours, Ninja. So, from The History Gamer, if you could have any creature as a pet, mythical or otherwise, what would you choose? Ooh. That's a really tough one, honestly. I mean, I guess a sphinx would be nice. Honestly, most people I imagine would just go with dragon. A dragon would be nice, or something that can shapeshift.
Yeah, but a dragon is predictable.
Yeah, but, like, it's a dragon. It's a freaking dragon.
I wouldn't choose a dragon.
What would you choose?
A phoenix.
Wait, so instead of the large reptile that can fly and breathes fire, you're choosing the large bird, which is made of fire.
Yep. I really like phoenixes. They're my favourite mythological creature. Like, and they have a symbolism which is really important to me.
I guess. I mean, do we qualify the Nimbus as being a creature?
The Nimbus?
Yeah, it's a cloud that you can ride. Although, like the unicorn, you can only ride it if you're pure of heart. I'm probably way past that point of being a DM.
Yeah, I don't think.
Some kind of dragon, maybe some form of like, dinosaur that I could ride or something.
Wait. What kind of dragon? Are we talking European dragon, Eastern dragon,
Ooh.
Chinese, Japanese?
Eastern would be really cool, but they'd undulate a lot in flight. You get like motion sickness really easily.
Would.
So I probably have to say Western dragon. Plus, it'd be a lot easier to park a Western dragon. Granted, almost every form of dragon in like literature is described as being intelligent, so that would get a bit weird.
In general folklore, European dragons are seen as being very aggressive and like.
Well, yes, because you have like the knights,
unpleasant.
saving the princess
Like
from the
Eastern
clutches
dragons
and
are
stuff.
seen as guardians.
Eastern dragons are seen with an orb representing the world in their claw. Imagine having that as a pet.
That would be pretty badass.
That's basically having Arceus in your Pokemon team. But I guess if we include Pokemon, I wouldn't mind. Is it Heracross? Metagross?
Metagross. Yeah.
Okay. Big thing with an X on its face that can shoot a hyper beam. Because there's one piece of art that I keep seeing around the internet, which is basically just someone with a desk that's with like their computer that's being powered by a magneton on the bottom left or something, and they're just walking through traffic. It's like, I love that image. That's fantastic. What genre of books do you like? Asks Royal Guard. Science fiction. I am a big fan of Isaac Asimov's work, and it's a shame that he will not be able to write more.
This is a difficult question for me because I have quite eclectic taste when it comes to books.
I know of at least one author that will appear on this list for you.
Well, yes, Terry Pratchett.
Yes.
So I read quite a lot of fantasy novels. I quite like Tolkien's work. I'm currently working my way through that.
Tolkien is fun, but he's a bit of a gas bag. Also, he has a lot of problematic issues.
There are a couple of classics I like, specifically the Alice in Wonderland books.
Lewis Carroll was pretty nice.
Yeah. I have been reading, I am quite a big fan of David Wong, who wrote John Dies at the End, which is a bit of a turn from what I usually tend to read. It's sort of dark comedic horror, which I personally really enjoy.
I do love a bit of Edgar Allan Poe on occasion. His poetry in particular I love. Well, I hope you've enjoyed. Then, of course, we will be back next week with more Quali-Tea time. Who knows, for those of you who, for some bizarre reason, don't seem to enjoy your presence. Maybe I'll be alone that time, because you'll possibly be unconscious and asleep again.
Possibly.
In which case, this might come out more on time. Anyways, hope you've enjoyed, and we'll, of course, catch you all next time.